After what seemed like a couple of moments, everything around him seemed to be changing again, like it had in the restaurant. Various colors were coming into focus, and slowly Han was standing in a grassy field under a clear blue sky. Looking around, he couldn't see anything aside from the field. Wishing he had a map, he brought up the menu to see if he could figure out where he was at. After bringing up the menu, he noticed a new option, labeled Map. Thinking this was convenient, considering how he just wished that he had a map, he selected it. The map came up looking like something out of a video game. It showed all the continents in various countries, though some of them were called kingdoms or empires. Seeing a blinking red dot, he assumed that this was him. Looking at the map, Han seemed to be inside the Helios Kingdom. Focusing on the Helios Kingdom made the map zoom in so it fit the screen. There were various villages, towns, and cities scattered throughout the area, with what looked like the capital city, which was ways away near the center. The dot indicated that he was near the edge of the kingdom, somewhat close to a village. Part of him wanted to head over there, but considering the amount of walking he would need to do, he decided to look at the menu some more. Now that he confirmed that this wasn't all just a hallucination, Han decided to check what other abilities there were. The menu seemed to be rather adaptive to his wants and needs, so he thought what else he could do. Bringing up the menu again, he selected Create, and saw several options appear. There were a lot of different options he could choose from, one of them being Shelter. This brought up various structures he could create. Seeing Stronghold on the list of buildings he could create, he tapped on it. Various strongholds seemed to appear on the screen. Considering how he wanted some place where he could feel safe, he looked at the selection and thought about one that was impenetrable. He wanted something that would never let armies be able to invade it, regardless of ability. Slowly, a bunch of images disappeared to be replaced by a handful of selections. Comparing each of the images, he decided to choose the one that looked like a large vertical rectangular block. If he took a skyscraper and removed the windows and covered it in concrete, this was what it would look like. Based on his requirement, this didn't look like something that could be invaded since it didn't have any openings. Judging that there must be some way for him to enter, he walked towards the building. As he reached the structure, Han imagined an entrance for him to enter into. On the face nearest to him, an impressive-looking staircase appeared, and at the back, a doorway emerged. This is pretty impressive, Han thought to himself. Walking up to the stairway and entering the structure, Han saw a long corridor appear with marble columns on either side spanning the entire way. There were fancy-looking globes that lit up the entire corridor. Looking down, Han saw that the floor was completely smooth, like polished marble with gray veins running throughout. There didn't appear to be any spacing, as if the entire floor was created from one giant slab. The walls and ceilings looked to be obsidian and contrasted perfectly with the floor and columns. Thinking about it, Han wondered if he needed to bring up the menu if he wanted to change anything. When he was approaching the building and thinking about the entrance, the building modified itself to his thoughts. So he figured it wouldn't be far-fetched to try changing parts of the structure. Looking at the globes, Han thought about hanging golden bowls filled with fire. As soon as he thought this, they changed to his thoughts, making this corridor look even cooler. Walking down the hall, he wondered what else he could change in the structure. At the end of the hallway was another staircase that rose up and split to either side, likely leading to the next floor. Going up the stairway and reaching the second floor, Han saw that there were various supporting columns throughout this place. Aside from the columns, there wasn't much else and looked rather dull. Each of the columns had a similar golden bowl on each face of the column. Feeling like it looked rather empty with just him, he wondered if he could create something to help him out. Just to test his ability, he imagined the hand floating in front of him. The hand would be as smooth and white as porcelain with long, slender fingers. He imagined that they would belong to a beautiful woman. As his mind imagined the hand, he actually saw one emerge in front of him. Just like he pictured it, the hand looked stunning, like those hand models on commercials, but several times better. He looked at the floating hand and thought about it being alive. Ever so slowly, the hand started to twitch and began to move its fingers, like floating jazz hands, and moved on to make a fist. Seeing that he was successful, Han thought about how it had a decent amount of intelligence, and after waiting for a couple minutes, he said, "Shake my hand." Floating towards his outstretched hand, it shook it. Han was surprised by how realistic it felt, especially how he could imagine that a woman was shaking his hand currently. There was a clear difference between how a guy's hand and a woman's hand felt, and this hand definitely felt like it came from a woman's. Releasing his grip, the hand went back to floating in front of him. Imagining it being erased, he swiped his hand and made it disappear from existence. After testing out that he had the ability to give life to his creations, and seeing how difficult it was, Han decided to try creating someone to help him out. In his mind, Han pictured a beautiful woman around 5'6", a little shorter than him, with flowing brown hair that was slightly wavy and an oval face. Her body would be considered voluptuous, with a slight shorter torso and long legs. If someone from Earth saw her, they would probably think she was a high-class porn star. As her body began to appear in front of him, Han was definitely impressed with his imagination and glad he looked at plenty of adult content. Who would have thought that watching porn and hentai would help him create a woman from nothing? With the woman standing in front of him, Han began to give her a very high intelligence and make sure that she would be completely loyal and devoted to him. Learning from his prior mistakes with women, he was definitely not going to mess up this one. He pulled up her stats on the menu so he could tinker with her. After changing some things around, he finally completed it. He decided to make her name Helania, her race being dragon and perfect human. He disregarded an age to make her ageless. The typical stats were all maxed out, while he gave her the ability of various magic, such as transformation into a black dragon form, lightning magic, void magic, fire magic, water magic, earth magic, time magic, charm magic, high defense, and spatial magic. There were probably other things he had forgotten, but I figured that he would be able to change it with his broken OP system he had. Closing the system, he willed for her to awaken and watched as her eyelids lifted and showed a deep purple iris. He realized that he was holding his breath, seeing how stunning she was. From now on, you will serve me and fulfill all that I will need you to complete. I have created you to be everything that I don't have the time to take care of. As time goes on, you will develop a personality that will help me to complete all that I wish on this or any other world. He addressed his hope to Helania. Helania looked up at him, and once listening to his wishes, she dropped to one knee and exclaimed, "My creator, your wishes are mine only purpose, and I will complete them without fail."